Say there's no indication this was terrorism related. However, many questions remain about this shootout in Jersey City.
Manny Gomez here now, a former special agent with the FBI, to give us some perspective. Manny, we just heard from investigators there on the scene, and although everything is preliminary, they did say that this could take weeks, months to investigate this massive scene that took place there in Jersey City today. How did they begin?
Well, they begin at the crime scene. They begin with the forensics. With every round is going to be numbered, is going to be marked. It's going to be fingerprinted. They're going to see where the firearms came from, where the rounds came from. They're going to be looking at the suspects that were identified and neutralized quickly by the first responders, one of which got killed in the process. And heroes, always heroes. And so they're going to be looking at who they are, what their background is, what's their social media footprint, what is their relationships, were they employed, their employers, their neighbors, their family. They're going to be looking at everything to see if this was a crime or a hate crime or a possible domestic terrorism event.
As you heard this unfold, I mean, it just unraveled, right? It starts out with a meeting with some homicide suspects at a cemetery, and next thing you know, hundreds of shots are being fired. Yeah. What went through your mind as you heard this? Like, what direction did you think this was going to go?
Well, this is very unusual that a gunfight like this goes on for
hours.
For hours. I mean, usually a gunfight happens in seconds.
Hundreds of rounds fired here.
Hundreds of rounds fired in minutes. In law enforcement is a lifetime. It's an eternity. I'm sure this police officer and police officers that responded had no idea when they woke up this morning and they had their morning cup of coffee that they were going to wind up in such an event as this. And so, again, I say kudos to them for being first responders, for avoiding further bloodshed and neutralizing the situation more than it could have been. That being said, there's still a lot of work to be done by both local and national, FBI, ATF, et cetera, in terms of fleshing out exactly what they have, who these people are, if there's anybody else involved, and is that city safe? Is the state safe? And is the nation safe?
I know you're sitting here. Do you have any suspicion as to what this might be? Or is that worth even getting into at this point?
No, from my understanding, it was an aftermath of another crime that occurred. And these were desperate people that were not going to apparently be taken alive, or didn't think that they were going to be taken by executing, for lack of a better word, this unfortunate police officer and the officers with him. That being said,
what about the U-Haul, though? I mean, I think we need to talk about the U-Haul.
Yeah.
It's considered as one of the crime scenes.
It is a crime scene because we need to identify where was it rented, who rented it, under whose license, under whose credit card. That's
and they
why
said that there was an incendiary device that is now being examined.
Yes.
Right. What's that about?
That's very interesting. Right. So that could change this from what is preliminary being said is just a simple crime gone bad, homicide gone bad, into potentially something else. Yes. And that's something else we're looking at. And again, this just happened a few hours ago, as you guys reported it, and there's a lot more work to be done before we could fully flesh out what this was. Okay. But what we do know is that the first responders were heroes, and that we have some, unfortunately, people that were that passed away in the process.
That is the truth. All right, former FBI Special Agent Manny Gomez, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Maurice. Thank you, Christine.